In the cold caves, high in the Ethiopian mountains, where the air is thin and time moves differently, lies a secret the Western world has ignored for 2 millennia. These aren't just books. They're a voice that was silenced, suppressed, hidden from the eyes of those who wanted to control human history. Subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with new videos, and thank you for your attention. Let's continue. Imagine this moment, 1945. World War II is drawing to a close. Adolf Hitler, obsessed with finding artifacts of ancient power, sends expeditions across the globe. They search for it in Egypt, Mesopotamia, and Tibet. But they never looked closely enough at Ethiopia. Why? Because Ethiopia held something that was never meant to be found. Something that could change everything. This story begins not with a discovery, but with an awakening. The Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church possesses something that makes it unique among all Christian denominations in the world. It's not just a collection, it's a treasure trove containing 81 sacred texts. 81. By comparison, the Protestant Bible contains 66 books. The Catholic Bible contains 73. The Ethiopian Bible includes all of these, plus 15 additional texts that were rejected by the West as outdated, heretical, and dangerous. When German scientists conducted radiocarbon dating of the Ethiopian Gospels, discovered in a monastery in the late 20th century, the results shocked the scientific community. These pages were written between the 4th and 7th centuries CE. This means that as Europe was descending into the Middle Ages, Ethiopian monks had already been guarding the oldest illustrated Christian manuscripts on earth for 1,000 years. But why did the West ignore them? The answer is both simple and terrifying. Because these books said things that threatened the power of Rome. There are between 12,000 and 14,000 differences between the Ethiopic Bible and the Codex Sinaiticus, one of the oldest known texts, compared to the modernized King James Version. 14,000 differences. These aren't typos. These aren't copyist errors. These are deliberate changes made by people who wanted to rewrite history. Western scholars long dismissed these books, calling them outdated fairy tales of the Middle Ages. They looked upon them with disdain, as the naive attempts of illiterate monks to understand sacred texts. But science intervened, and science doesn't lie. When radiocarbon dating confirmed the authenticity of these texts, scholars were faced with an uncomfortable question. If these books were so ancient, why were they excluded from the official canon? Who made this decision? And most importantly, what was so dangerous about them? The Book of Enoch is a revelation that upends everything we know about the Great Flood. The traditional Bible explains the flood simply. Humanity sinned, God punished. End of story. But the Book of Enoch tells a very different story. According to this text, 200 heavenly beings, known as the Watcher Angels, descended upon Mount Hermon. They did not come with good intentions. They descended to rebel against the divine order. They married human women. They produced offspring, giants, called the Nephilim. These colossal beings dominated the planet through violence, bringing the world to the brink of destruction. But this is only the beginning. These rebellious angels shared forbidden knowledge with humans. They taught humans how to make weapons from metal. They revealed the secrets of cosmetics and the deception of beauty. They taught ancient civilizations how to decipher the stars through unauthorized means. They gave humanity a technology it wasn't ready to control. This wasn't just a mistake. It was a deliberate attempt to lead humanity into technological chaos. The Book of Enoch describes in detail who these rebellious angels were. It names them. It explains how they manipulated humanity. It paints a picture of a cosmic war in which Earth was a battlefield between the forces of light and darkness. It's no wonder the Roman Church rejected this book. Its content was too intense, too supernatural, too threatening to the established order. Instead of trying to understand it, they decided to destroy it. But Ethiopia chose a different path. Ethiopia chose to preserve the truth, even if it was inconvenient. When you read the Book of Enoch in the context of the modern world, something becomes clear. The description of celestial beings giving humans technology they aren't ready to control sounds surprisingly relevant. Artificial intelligence, genetic engineering, nuclear weapons, social media that manipulate human consciousness. Perhaps the Book of Enoch is more than just ancient history. Perhaps it's a warning, repeated cyclically throughout history. A warning that when humanity gains power without wisdom, the results are catastrophic. In the standard Gospel of Luke, the period between the resurrection and the ascension is described vaguely and quickly. The most important moments are lost in the rush of events. It's as if someone were telling you the most important story of your life, but doing so casually, in a rush. But in the Ethiopian Mashava Kedan, the Book of the Covenant, these 40 days are the heart of the entire narrative. This isn't just a farewell. It's a 40-day revelation of hidden wisdom. This is the moment when Christ's meekness gives way to urgency, when the true purpose of his mission is finally revealed. The risen Christ gathers his disciples not simply for comfort. He gathers them to prepare them for a spiritual war that resonates with every human soul. He speaks of a mysterious and powerful figure known as the Shadow Maker. This being has the ability to manipulate the physical world, wealth, power, fame. According to the Mashafa Kedan, the material world is under the influence of this deceptive force. Christ warns, don't trust physical structures. Don't trust positions of authority. Instead, work on inner development, on your heart. For only the heart is the eternal sanctuary. But here, the text becomes even more alarming. He warns of the rise of great religious institutions that will exploit his name for their own purposes. He warns of a coming empire that will use his symbol as an instrument of power. He speaks of wars, crusades, lawsuits, the creation of vast religious organizations driven by money and influence. This sounds like a prophecy spanning thousands of years, as if he sees the future. Then Christ moves on to a deeper understanding of the human spirit. He speaks of two forces that flow within every person, the breath of life and the breath of deception. The breath of deception is not simply an error in judgment. It is not simply a wrong action. It is described as a conscious entity that penetrates a person when they succumb to greed, when their gaze lingers on forbidden objects, when they tell lies. Once this deceptive force takes root in a person, their heart becomes hardened. They remain outwardly alive, but inwardly empty. Christ calls this state a mobile grave. Consider this: a person who is physically active, productive, outwardly happy, communicates online, eats, and talks, but is devoid of spiritual vitality. It resembles an invisible, silent decay, a disintegration of the spirit that appears ordinary on the outside. But Christ does not leave his disciples without hope. He gives them a remedy. And this is not just a formality or charity. It is wisdom, true understanding. He teaches them to watch their own thoughts as a sentry guards a gate. He shows them that paradise is not in a distant place. Paradise is within them, hidden in the quiet void between thoughts. It exists within, ready to be revealed. One of the main reasons the Roman Empire rejected these teachings was its desire for obedience. Empires thrive on conformity, and citizens who obey rules and respect authority. They fear people who understand that true power comes from within and cannot be dictated by any institution. When people believe in the presence of God within themselves, they become resistant to manipulation. They reject blind obedience. They no longer feel obligated to pay for spiritual guidance. This was a threat to Roman power. And so these books were hidden. The Mashafakadan contains unusual descriptions of nature. It speaks of gates that control the flow of wind. It speaks of hidden reservoirs containing snow. In the past, these descriptions were viewed as simply poetic expressions, metaphors, a way for ancient people to describe what they could not understand. But then came modern science. Scientists have discovered that powerful air currents circulate around Earth. They have discovered enormous underground water reservoirs hidden in rocks deep within the Earth's mantle. The volume of this water exceeds that of all the oceans, seas, and lakes combined. This raises profound questions. If the information about hidden water and air currents is true, could the concept of a spiritual invader also be true? Could this ancient understanding of the power of deception infiltrating a person be a reference to a deeper aspect of human behavior? Ethiopian monks seem to have known things that modern science has only confirmed in recent decades. How did they know this? Ethiopia is closely associated with the Ark of the Covenant. Hollywood may depict it in Egypt, but Ethiopians firmly believe that the true Ark is located in the city of Aksum, in the Church of St. Mary of Zion. This belief is deeply rooted in their culture, shaping their history and sense of self-identity. To understand its appeal to groups like the Knights Templar, or to individuals like Adolf Hitler who sought it out, one must understand its origins. The story begins with the Queen of Sheba, who traveled from Ethiopia to Jerusalem to meet King Solomon. Their connection became strong, and when she returned to Jerusalem, she was pregnant with his child. This child was named Menelik I. When Menelik grew up, he went to meet his father. Solomon offered him the kingdom, but Menelik chose to return to Ethiopia. However, he did not return empty-handed. According to an ancient text called the Kebra Nagast, Glory of Kings, Menelik and his friends performed a remarkable feat. They replaced the true Ark of the Covenant with a wooden replica and transported the real Ark across the Nile into the mountains of Ethiopia. This act forever changed the fate of an entire country. The Bible describes the Ark as a golden box containing the 10 Commandments. But it also tells of strange incidents occurring around it. Mountains shaking, armies being consumed by fire, people falling ill when they came too close. These descriptions transformed the image of the Ark from a simple wooden box into a powerful and potentially dangerous object, reminiscent of an ancient technology that baffled comprehension. Even now, the Ark's protector, a single monk chosen for life, exhibits strange symptoms. He remains confined to the small chapel housing the Ark, preparing his own meals, praying constantly, and guarding the chest until his last breath. Those who interact closely with these guardians often report the same observation. The monks gradually lose their sight, their skin becomes pale, and their lifespans are shortened. The cause of these physical changes remains a mystery, giving rise to various speculations. Some suggest the Ark serves as a powerful energy source. Others believe it once served as a means of communication. Regardless, Ethiopia has vigilantly guarded it for millennia, successfully repelling any imperial attempts to seize it. This is a significant event. Ethiopia remains the only African country to have escaped colonization. In the late 1800s, Italy launched an invasion, armed with advanced weaponry and heavy artillery, while Ethiopian fighters had only outdated rifles, shields, and spears. Despite the overwhelming odds, The Ethiopians defeated the Italians at the Battle of Adwa, a triumph that shocked the world. But here's where the story gets even more intriguing. According to local accounts, a strange event occurred on that fateful day. People speak of a blinding light engulfing the battlefield, causing confusion among the Italian troops. Some even speculate that the Ark was brought close to the battlefield, and its presence had a transformative effect on the outcome of the battle. The Italians weren't the first to search for the Ark. Centuries earlier, the Knights Templar attempted to find the Ark. In the 12th century, these warriors traveled to Ethiopia, following stories of the Ark and its connection to an ancient lineage. Carvings in some Lalibela churches bear resemblance to Templar symbols, hinting at the Templars' obsession. But they were not simply looking for a chalice or cup. Their search was for a living bloodline, with the Ark as its guardian, which they considered the true Holy Grail. The power of the Ethiopian narrative lies in its ancient bloodline. For nearly 3 millennia, the Solomonic dynasty ruled Ethiopia, beginning with Menelik and ending with the overthrow of the monarchy in the 1970s. These monarchs claimed descent from King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, denoting their connection to the line of David. Unlike Europe, where churches were built and rulers crowned based on spiritual pretensions, Ethiopia could boast a royal lineage with direct ties to biblical figures. This was revolutionary. It meant that the true center of ancient religious beliefs was not in Rome. It was in a quiet village in northern Ethiopia, guarded by a solitary monk who remained faithful to his duty. Lalibela is a place that astonishes even the most intelligent historians, leaving them baffled. This historic site resembles a riddle carved in stone, where every turn reveals a fresh secret. In the 12th century, King Lalibela commissioned the construction of 11 churches. But instead of hiring builders to assemble stones or bricks, he ordered them to carve the churches directly from the solid volcanic rock. These weren't just caves. These were majestic and intricately designed cathedrals, carved from a single rock. Each church was created by removing stone to create windows, doors, columns, roofs, and drainage systems. It was a process of sculpting the building in reverse. Imagine, you see the finished building in your mind, in 3 dimensions, and then you remove everything that doesn't belong. One mistake, one crack, and the entire project collapses. Broken stone walls cannot be repaired. There is no room for rebuilding. The most astonishing aspect is the timescale. According to ancient accounts, these 11 churches were built in approximately 24 years. 24 years. Modern engineering experts have analyzed the dimensions and claim that achieving such a feat is impossible. This feat would have required tens of thousands of workers and over 100 years, using only hand tools such as chisels, hammers, and primitive machinery. If this task were undertaken today, removing the massive amount of rubble would require countless truckloads of hauling. And yet, not a single remnant of the stone waste has ever been found. Millions of tons of rock vanished without a trace. Local legend adds an additional element of intrigue. According to monks, the workers toiled under the sun, but celestial beings descended at night to continue the work. These celestial beings were said to be twice as efficient as humans and used tools that emitted radiant light. The concept of tools made of light suggests a level of sophistication beyond mere tools. Instead, it implies something immensely powerful, perhaps surpassing typical human capabilities. Some believe that the Ark of the Covenant may have been moved to Lalibela during this period and potentially used to manipulate or carve volcanic stone. Other ancient accounts from various societies suggest the concept of stone being altered by sound waves or special materials. This has led to speculation that the builders of Lalibela possessed hidden techniques or knowledge that has since disappeared from the world's awareness. The Church of St. George is the most famous of the churches in the area. This unique church has a unique design, resembling a perfect cross carved deep into the earth. Its roof is at ground level, allowing visitors to look down into the church from above. The precision of the structure is so remarkable that it appears to have been created using advanced technology. Despite being exposed to heavy rainfall for over 8 centuries, the church remains dry and pristine thanks to its efficient drainage system. Underneath this complex structure, an ominous labyrinth of underground passages exists. These completely dark tunnels were intended to symbolize a journey into darkness. Candidates seeking to enter the priesthood pass through these tunnels in complete darkness, relying solely on their sense of touch to guide them along the rough stone walls while reciting prayers. It is like entering a realm devoid of any external noise except one's own words, and devoid of visual input other than that created in the mind. This journey represents progress through shadow to enlightenment. In recent years, advanced laser technology has revealed hidden chambers beneath the floors of various churches. These sections remained sealed for centuries, shrouded in mystery. Speculation abounds regarding their contents, with theories ranging from valuable treasures to forgotten manuscripts or historical construction artifacts. Unlike the Western narrative, which depicts Jesus as a solitary figure without a wife, children, or heritage, in Eastern cultures such as Ethiopia, family is of paramount importance. The Ethiopian royal lineage, in particular, embodies the importance of bloodlines and roots in shaping identity. Ethiopia was ruled by a single dynasty for many centuries. This lineage extended for approximately 900 years before Christ until 1974, with Emperor Haile Selassie being the 225th ruler in this unbroken line of monarchs. Known as the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah, Selassie's title held significant historical and legal significance, as it traced his lineage directly to King David, establishing a unique connection between Ethiopia and ancient Israel that attracted global attention. If David's lineage extended to Ethiopia, and Mary also belonged to the house of David, then Ethiopian rulers were considered part of the same family lineage. This concept troubled many people, as it linked the Old and New Testaments through an unbroken line of royal descent. Some believers viewed Haile Selassie as a possible reincarnation of the Messiah, based on the prophecies of the Lion of Judah, and felt he fulfilled them. Haile Selassie, a devout Orthodox Christian, never claimed to be Jesus. However, he never rejected the mystery surrounding his lineage. He acknowledged the significance of his bloodline and the influence it had. Modern science has further contributed to this narrative, conducting genetic studies of Ethiopian communities that have revealed significant traces of ancient non-African DNA dating back thousands of years. This has confirmed long-held stories of people migrating from present-day Israel and Syria to Ethiopia approximately 3,000 years ago. What was once considered mere legend is now backed by scientific evidence demonstrating that people from Jerusalem did migrate and integrate into the Ethiopian population. Ethiopia stood out as an exceptional entry point into early Christianity, thanks to its connection to ancient Judaism. Unlike Rome, which imposed Christianity, Ethiopia adopted it organically, thanks to its existing ties to ancient Judaism, preserving numerous traditions associated with the Old Testament. The Ethiopians did not require conversion. They seamlessly followed their spiritual path. Abstaining from pork, practicing circumcision on the 8th day, and observing the Sabbath on Saturday, their faith developed into a harmonious synthesis of old and new beliefs, demonstrating a unique blend of the two testaments. Ethiopian Christianity has a unique appearance due to its roots and family ties rather than military expansion. This brings us to the most shocking aspect of the narrative, the idea that Jesus could have survived and left Judea. Ancient documents indicate that he may not have died on the cross. Had he managed to escape death, he likely would have sought refuge somewhere safe and connected to his lineage. Ethiopia stood out as the only place outside of Judea where David's descendants held power. It served as a logical place of refuge. In the isolated hills of Ethiopia, ancient beliefs persist about a stranger who arrived from the northern regions. This man brought healing to the sick, preached harmony, and taught lessons about a different form of love and modesty. The locals don't call him Jesus, but rather the righteous teacher. Perhaps this narrative is a memory passed down through many eras, a hint of the actual Jesus seeking refuge among distant relatives. While this idea may seem daring in a region known for its revered texts, ancient monuments, and mysterious relics, anything seems possible. For centuries, the Western world has scoured Galilee for signs of Jesus. They dig up rocks and analyze pottery fragments. But perhaps they're looking in the wrong place. Perhaps the true heritage, the true memory, the connection, even the lineage, lies silently preserved in the Ethiopian mountains. Ethiopian monks believe that while the West may have access to water, the true source of abundance lies in Ethiopia. Slowly, but surely, this source of wealth and prosperity is beginning to unfold. When the hidden rise again, something strange happens, and everyone feels it. For nearly 2,000 years, these ancient writings lay silent. They slept in cold mountain caves while time tried to erase them. Worms gnawed at their edges. Guards with spears stood guard as if their lives depended on it. The pages were wrapped in goatskin, hidden from the world, shrouded in deep silence. Then suddenly, everything changed. In just the last 5 years, translations have begun pouring online like an unstoppable river. It was as if someone had broken a lock that had been sealed for centuries. People began to ask if the moment written in those ancient pages had finally arrived. Some even believe that history has a chosen point where the hidden truth must emerge. One bold prophecy speaks of a future time when the entire world will be caught in a web of deception. In the ancient language of Ge'ez, these webs describe a world that appears real, but is not. A world where people speak without using their voices and see things without using their eyes. Today, this sounds exactly like the online world, modern technology, and even artificial intelligence. This leads many to wonder, could the Ethiopian monks have been guarding more than just a holy book? Perhaps they were guarding a manual designed for an age of screens, beeps, and confusion. Prophecy says that when people are lost within these false networks, hidden truth must come to light to shatter the illusion. This idea is shaking the organized church because people everywhere are feeling disillusioned with old systems. Trust in governments, news, and religious leaders has fallen. People want something pure, real, and direct. They want a spiritual experience that comes straight from the source. These Ethiopian writings speak to this deep hunger. Some believe those church councils long ago removed certain books not simply for organizational reasons. They removed them to weaken human power. The Ethiopian texts portray humans not as quiet followers, but as powerful beings in a cosmic struggle. They speak of watchers, fallen angels, and ancient tools once used by humans. Ethiopia never removed these books. It preserved everything. These writings also hint at a lost science, such as using sound to move stone. Think of the rock-hewn churches of Lalibela, carved from solid rock, as if the stone had been softened like butter. Some say angels did this, but others think the angels may represent a lost technology. If true, the Book of the Covenant is more than a spiritual guide. It may be the key to ancient knowledge. The Ethiopian Church still guards the Ark of the Covenant in Axum. If new translations, if the Odes reveal more, the world may be on the brink of rediscovering a science lost after the Great Flood, a science powerful enough to change everything we know. What do you think of the Ethiopic Bible? What do you think of what's hidden in these ancient texts? Could it be that the truth the world seeks has been in Ethiopia all this time, guarded by monks who refuse to let it be forgotten? The world is changing. People are waking up. And perhaps this is precisely the time when the hidden must be revealed. This story isn't just about ancient books or artifacts. It's about the power of truth, about how truth can be suppressed, but never completely destroyed, about how one nation, Ethiopia, chose to preserve the truth even when the entire world tried to forget it. And now, in the information age, when truth is more valuable than ever, these ancient voices are beginning to be heard again. The question isn't whether you believe these stories. The question is whether you're willing to hear what they say.